Good morning and welcome to the First Unitarian Society of Madison. My name is Kelly Crocker and I'm one of the ministers here. Today I'm joined by my colleague, the Reverend Kelly Asprooth-Jackson, and the worship team of Heather Thorpe, Linda Warren, Stephen Gregorius, Daniel Carnes. A special thank you and welcome to the members of our teen choir for sharing their gift of music with us today. Thank you. And thank you to all those who are volunteering in many roles, our greeters, ushers, hospitality providers, our lay ministers, and sound technicians. At First Unitarian Society, we question boldly, listen humbly, grow spiritually, act courageously, and love unapologetically. If you're visiting us today, welcome. We are so very glad that you are with us. If you would like more information about First Unitarian, please stop by the welcome table located in the Commons through these doors to your right. We do hope you'll be able to stay and join us for coffee hour immediately following service, also right out there in the Commons. And for those of you connecting with us virtually today, we are glad that you are with us as well. We hope that you'll be able to stick around after service and watch those announcement slides to find out more about what's happening here at First Unitarian. One special announcement is that next Sunday, March 9th at 12:30, right here in this room, is our financial forum. So if you are interested in the finances, how are we doing this year? What are we thinking about for next year? Please join us on Sunday at 12:30 right here. And now, I invite you to join us in a moment of silence as we center ourselves, bringing ourselves fully into this time, joining together once again in community. We come together with our tired minds and bodies, with our confusion and questions, our uncertainties and our fears.
Here we have come into this sacred space, quieter now with our readiness.
We come together with our hopes, with our pasts and our ideas, our passions and our faith.
Hushed voices, hoping, trusting for so many things, for connection, for communion, for inspiration, for information, for healing, for wholeness, for words, for music, for celebration and consolation.
We come together bringing all of who we are, trusting that in gathering we will be renewed and that together we can create the world we long for.
Here we have come into this space, bringing all of who we are. Let us be willing, however we are changed.
And we invite you now to rise in all the ways we do, joining together in the words of affirmation as we light our chalice. with faith to face our challenges, with love that casts out fear, with hope to trust tomorrow. We accept this day as the gift it is, a reason for rejoicing. And we invite you to take a moment now, turn and greet those around you.
Good morning. Please remain standing in body or in spirit as we sing our opening hymn, number 344, A Promise Through the Ages Rings, verses 1 through 3 only.
And now I invite forward anyone who would like to come up and join me for a story today. Good morning. Hello. Oh, what do we have? You have a truck with a siren. Fire truck. Very nice. Hello. Come on down. Good morning. Good morning. We're going to get to that. Yeah. Well, good morning. Welcome. It's good to see you today. I have a story for you today that comes from Tibet. Does anybody know where Tibet is? Somewhere in Asia. Absolutely correct. Any other answers to the question, where is Tibet? Yes.
Isn't it like Netherlands?
So it's north of India, right? And it currently, the region of Tibet is currently incorporated as part of the state of China. Hasn't always been that way. It's the place where a whole lot of the Himalayan mountains are, the very tallest mountains in the world. And it is a place that has a lot of Buddhist monasteries. A monastery is a place where people go both to be and to become monks, to practice meditating a lot. Like a lot. Like I know some of you all meditate a bunch. I guarantee you there are some monks in Tibet who meditate more than you do. So this story is about a particular monastery where there was a particular teacher and then a whole bunch of students, and one student in particular. So the teacher taught meditation, right? Sitting, usually, quietly, usually, focused. Yep, definitely the focus is a big part of it. The teacher taught this, but there was one student who, they weren't cut out for this, right? Lots of people, we all have things we're better or worse at. No judgment about that. But not everybody is naturally gifted in the meditation department. And this student really was not. And the teacher, it must be said, this is not a very good teacher. This is definitely not a teacher I want you to use as a model for how you should teach other people. Because the teacher got very frustrated with the student, and the teacher said something the teacher really should not have said. I want to tell you that from the outset. Don't duplicate this behavior, all right? Teacher said to the student, "You are as dumb as a yak." That's very mean. As I said, this student just isn't cut out for meditation. It's not something that they're naturally gifted at. I'm sure they had lots of other gifts that the teacher was not appreciating, and maybe you're going to say, what are you going to say, Cleo? Yaks aren't dumb. That's right. This is unfair to all of yaks, in addition to being very unfair to the student. No one is being treated well in that exchange. Now, maybe this is a little bit of evidence in the opposing column here, because the student heard the teacher say this and misunderstood and thought that the teacher was telling the student that they needed to meditate on being a yak. They needed to focus their mind on the quality of yakness. That was not the intended meaning. But that's how the student took it. So the student went off into the hills, found a cave, and sat down and focused on yakness. It was there a very long time. So long that even though the teacher was not very pleased with the student, the teacher still was like, where'd that one go? And went out looking for the student, found the cave, found the student, and said, "What are you doing in this cave?" The student said, "Well, I have been following your instruction. I have been very focused on the matter of yakness, and I believe that I have come to a place of deep inner peace by focusing on the essence of yak." And the teacher said to the student, "No, you have not," and left. Well, the student was not dissuaded by this and continued to meditate, continued to focus on the idea of a yak. So long that the teacher eventually came back and said, "What are you doing still here? I told you you're wasting your time." And the student said, No, but you have to understand, I have really attained deep insight. I have finally achieved enlightenment by focusing on yak. And the teacher said, "No, you have not," and left again. Well, this happened one more time, right? One more long period of the student just sitting in the cave, being quiet, thinking yak thoughts. And the teacher came back one last time. And by this time, the student had moved all the way into the back of the cave where it was dark, so the teacher could not see. And the teacher called out into the cave, "Why are you still in that cave? What are you doing there?" And the student said, "Well, I can't leave now because I have become a yak, and my horns will not fit through the mouth of the cave." So what are we supposed to learn from this story? Yes. Maybe try not to turn into yak. You know, I'm succeeding at that every single day. And if that's the test of success, then I'm very pleased by that. Yes, what do you think? To not make misunderstandings, right? The whole thing is based on a misunderstanding. Sure, absolutely. Yeah. What do you think? Not go into dark caves without any assistance or anyone responsible for you. That's a good lesson in general. Don't go spelunking when nobody knows where you are. Yes, absolutely. One more, Cleo. What do you think? Don't call your students dumb as yaks. That is a good and important lesson. And if that's what you take away from this, I will be satisfied. I have one more idea. Because I was sitting with this story, I thought, what is the point of this story? So here is one more thought that I have. Okay? My other thought is that there are people that everybody writes off, right? That everybody assumes are not going to accomplish anything. Sometimes we're the person writing the other person off. We're saying, "Oh, I don't think that they're going to be able to do whatever thing or really do anything that's impressive or successful." Sometimes we're the person that other people are making that assumption about. We're not going to accomplish what we set out to accomplish. We can't do what they think we ought to do. And sometimes those people surprise us. Sometimes they do something amazing, something unexpected, something even they didn't know they could do. Thank you so much for listening to my story. We are going to turn our attention over here.
Pieces of color, glints of gold, tiny bits of glass and stone, each of them single, each of them small, and none of them look like much alone.
Pieces of color, glints of gold, tiny bits of glass and stone, each of them single, each of them small, and none of them look like much alone. But when they're together and fit just right, with each little piece in its place, and hearts come together and hands holding tight, and so many colors begin to embrace. Hear the mosaic, hear the colors dance when they take a chance to come closer together. The picture is coming together.
Pieces of color, glints of gold, tiny bits of glass and stone, each of them single, each of them small, and none of them look like much alone. But when they're together and fit just right, with each little piece in its place, their hearts come together and hands holding tight, and so many colors begin to embrace.
Pieces of color, glints of gold, tiny bits of glass and stone, each of them single, each of them small, and none of them look like much alone. But when they're together, just right, the colors dance, and they take a chance. When they're together, hearts holding tight, and so many colors begin to embrace. Hear the mosaic, hear the colors dance when they take a chance to come closer together. A picture is coming together.
To your classes.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join together our voices in singing hymn number 83, Winds Be Still.
Winds
inspiration this morning is Psalm 23, For This Moment, by Kevin Tarza. May I remember in this tender moment that love is my guide, always shepherding me toward ways of openness and compassion. I have what I need, really, with love at my side, above me, below me, in front of me, behind me, inside every cell of me, love infused everywhere. Just when the weight of the world I inhabit threatens to drop me in place and press my hope down into the ground beneath me, love invites me to rest for a gentle while and leads the center of my soul to the quiet, still restoring waters nearby that somehow I had not noticed. And so love quietly sets me once again on its tender and demanding path. Even when the walls close around me and the cries of death echo through untold corners, gripping my heart with fear and sadness, I know that all will be well, that I will be well when love whispers near to me, glints at the corner of my eye, rests with gentle and persistent invitation upon my shoulders. Yes, love blesses me, even as the sources and symbols of my pain look on. Love blesses me from its infinite well, and I turn and notice that goodness and kindness and grace follow me everywhere I go. I live in a house of love, love that will not let me go. I live in a house of love and always will.
The poet Mark Nepo's Book of Awakening is a slim collection of daily short pieces that could be described as either spiritual essays or prose meditations. They are little fragments of guidance and encouragement, often offering specific thoughts to reflect on or images to visualize. In one of these pieces, Nepo describes a scene he happened upon years before, but which has remained present to him ever since. Out for a walk and chancing by the shore of a lake, he caught sight of a single duck, alone, bobbing up and down with the motion of the water. It was not swimming along, not even consciously maintaining its position relative to the shore. The duck's little head was nestled up tight against its body, bent down and backward, folded in. The animal was asleep in the midday sun, resting on the water, upholding it, trusting the conditions of the surrounding world to sustain it, surrendered to its own dependence and vulnerability, and seemingly at peace. Mark Nepo reflects on that surrender with awe and perhaps some amount of envy, writing, "Only rarely have I let go this completely. Yet those moments of total surrender have thoroughly changed my life. When struck with cancer, I somehow fell from the ledge of my fear and entered the operating room like this little duck. It was the threshold to the other side. When lonely and afraid to reach out, I have somehow collapsed repeatedly into the ocean of another's love, and it has cleansed my weary heart. And in search now for wisdom to live by, I stumble at times and surrender what I think I know so completely that I find myself adrift in a deeper way that is neither wise nor unwise, but simply life-affirming. as a centering insight, apart from the essay, but presented alongside it. He also offered this brief, anonymous quotation. "Beneath what I try to see is all I need." Now, to me, this reads as a stark reminder of the conflict between desire and necessity. We all need food in order to live, but I confess to you that I desire more than just what I need in that regard. Truth be told, I would like a hot meal prepared exactly to my specifications to arrive at exactly the time that I would like to eat it, and oh yes, I would like for someone else to make it for me, please. It is normal and natural to be caught up in desire, but when we get caught up completely, right, when we not just want, but we want to the point that wanting is all of our attention, even things that we might not be able to have, when we're caught up so much, overwhelmed by disappointment or resentment at what we do not have, can actually get in the way of getting the things that we truly need. If I spend all of my time and energy lamenting my lack of a personal chef, the personal chef, who is me, will not have the time or the energy to make my own supper. Mark Nepo's duck was not perfectly safe, sleeping afloat on the water of the lake. There was still some small possibility that a predator could come along or that the natural motion of the water could cause it to drift into some new peril or predicament. If the animal had been completely obsessed by such possibilities, it might never have gotten to sleep at all, the sleep which, like food, is a fundamental need. If the duck had to wait for perfect conditions in order to trust the water to hold it, it could have never known rest. Letting go of desire, even a very modest and reasonable sort of desire, like the confidence in one's own ongoing safety, is sometimes necessary to get to something that we need even more. This can come up in many different ways, and one of these is in how we handle the loss, the fear, the suffering of life. Or more often, how we avoid handling it at all. The desire to be rid of all those bad feelings, to escape the pain of a lost marriage or a dead loved one or a home that we can never go home to again. But avoiding it, denying it, just leaves us stuck in it indefinitely. In her book, Faith, the Buddhist teacher Sharon Salzberg notes that one of the meanings of saddha, the word for faith in Pali, which is the main language of Buddhist scripture, is hospitality. Faith is about opening up and making room for even the most painful experiences, the ones where we take apart the cord of our suffering to find notes of horror, desolation, and piercing fear. If I could be willing to make room for my aching numbness, the river of grief that it covered, allowing it, even trusting it, I would be acting in faith. Perhaps this is how suffering leads to faith. In times of great struggle, when there is nothing else to rely on and nowhere else to go, maybe it is the return to the moment that is the act of faith. From that point, openness to possibility can arise, willingness to see what will happen, patience, endeavor, strength, and courage. Moment by moment, we can find our way through. Holding to the present moment, hard as it might be, allows for some influence over the possibility of what comes next, however small or remote. rather than simply being ruled by fear for the future or grief for the past. From the glimmer of possibility that the present moment holds, grow the virtues of patience, courage, kindness, creativity, the things that allow us to see ourselves and each other through each new moment that comes. In late June of 1945, not even 2 full months after the official end of the war in Europe, a newspaper in Switzerland published an article on the underground resistance to the Nazi regime in the German city of Cologne. The report mentions a literally underground shelter that was used by the resistance during the war, including as a temporary hiding place for 9 Jewish fugitives who were on the run from the Gestapo. It describes the Spartan conditions of that tunnel-like space, comparing it to a catacomb of the Roman era. And it records an inscription left on a wall by one of the people who took refuge there. It is possible that you have encountered something to do with this before. Stories like this get passed around and reported in different ways with similar but changed details, with a range of different wordings for that inscription itself. But as far as I can tell, this is the original story. And translated from the German, this is the original wording. I believe in the sun, though it be dark. I believe in God, though he be silent. I believe in neighborly love, though it be unable to reveal itself. Words from a time of metaphorical darkness, written in a place of literal darkness. Below the earth, the continuing existence of the sun cannot be confirmed by the senses alone. At some level, it is a thing that requires trust. I know that for many of us, a belief in God is a personal impossibility, or just a prospect that holds no particular interest or attraction. For a theist, specifically for a monotheist, God is the essence of moral authority, a time in history into which God seems not to speak must be a time of spectacular immorality, of the complete undoing of the very measurement of right and wrong. Now, whether God is a meaningful term for you or not, perhaps you can still imagine the challenge such an environment of chaotic fear would pose to faith of any kind. But then we have that last line. I believe in neighborly love, though it be unable to reveal itself. Those words are the product of a time and place where even decency, let alone kindness or compassion, were criminalized. They were likely written by a person, a Jew, whose society had turned against them, making their death into nearly a certainty, as it was for so many. And yet, that theoretical, anonymous author survived at least long enough to pen those words due to the heroism of small mercies. Someone hid them. Someone fed them. Someone shared their own meager pittance of wartime supplies, risked their own neck to keep them from the hands of the authorities. Many someones must have done so over and over again for every single person who evaded the clutches of a murderous state and survived. When a regime outlaws neighborliness, simply refusing to turn someone in or to allow them to starve becomes a radical and seditious act. The terrible predicament of life under Nazi rule gave so many sickening reasons to lose all faith in humanity, and in secret fragments of rebellion, the most successful of which would never be known until after the war. It also gave stirring reasons to believe in the capacity of human beings to behave humanely towards each other, whatever the cost might be. Looking back at that time from this time, we can find there as many reasons as we might want to never trust another person again. And we can also find all the evidence that we could ever need for the potential for human kindness, even in the face of the most bitter cruelty and evil. I was reminded this week of a profound observation that I had encountered once before, but then forgotten, that if the worst parts of history can repeat themselves, it stands to reason that the best parts can as well. Now, the fact that this little quotation is to be found in a collectible trading card game suitable for ages 9 and up does not make me feel any less inspired or encouraged by it. Quite the opposite, in fact. Wisdom, like kindness, like hope, is so generously and comedically interspersed through the warp and weft of existence that we trip over these things in the most unexpected of places. So how do we believe in the sun even though it be dark? How do we find the means to trust ourselves or each other, or the greater human family, or the fundamental conditions of the world itself, after all of the failures and disappointments that each one of those things has held for us? What we need is beneath what we are trying to see. The desire for the world to be tremendously different from the way that it is, which is a good desire. I am fully in support of that desire. Does nothing to serve us or anyone else if we are so caught up in it that we cannot experience and appreciate all that is so generously and comedically interspersed through our existence. Someone who lived in fear for their life carved that poem into that wall. Someone fed them and sheltered them long enough for them to do so. That, all by itself, is a wondrous and luminous thing. The poet Jimmy Santiago Baca has a poem about the profound importance of giving to each other what we can, even when we know that it is not enough, and of cherishing that gift, that thing that we need, even as far as it is from all that we might want. He writes, "I am offering this poem to you since I have nothing else to give. Keep it like a warm coat when winter comes to cover you, or like a pair of thick socks the cold cannot bite through. I love you. I have nothing else to give you. It is a pot full of yellow corn to warm your belly in winter. It is a scarf for your head to wear over your hair, to tie up around your face. I love you. Keep it. Treasure this as you would if you were lost, needing direction in the wilderness that life becomes when mature. And in the corner of your drawer, tucked away like a cabin or a hogan in dense trees, come knocking, and I will answer. Give you directions, and let you warm yourself by this fire, rest by this fire, and make you feel safe. I love you. It's all I have to give, and all anyone needs to live and to go on living inside when the world outside no longer cares. If you live or die, remember, I love you. If you are feeling especially cold this winter, even on this relatively sunny day, or if you are feeling lost in the midst of a crowded room, or if you find yourself doubting the sun simply because it is dark, may you wrap yourself in the simple wonder of that message from Jimmy Santiago Baca. Someone loves you, whether they know you or not. And take all these words from the poet Lucille Clifton, a fellow Western New Yorker like myself. I will leave you with them, this her blessing the boats. May the tide that is entering even now, the lip of our understanding, carry you out beyond the face of fear. May you kiss the wind, then turn from it, certain that it will love your back. May you open your eyes to water, water waving forever. And may you, in your innocence, sail through this to that. I invite you now into this time of giving and receiving, where we give freely and generously to this offering which sustains and strengthens our community here, and also our outreach offering recipients, who this week is Moses's Deferred Prosecution Program Fund. Now, Moses, in case you do not know, stands for Madison Organizing in Strength, Equity, and Solidarity. This is the congregationally based community organizing group that we are a part of as a congregation. The Deferred Prosecution Program Fund that they administer helps individuals who are eligible for deferred prosecution to participate in situations where resources would be a barrier. By settling relatively small court fees and other liabilities, they are helping to make this alternative to incarceration more equitable and accessible. And today, we are blessed to have with us two folks to tell us more about this program and its impacts So I'm going to call up the first of those people now. Rebecca Jones, Deferred Prosecution Child Abuse Specialist. Thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning.
Morning.
Well, as it was already stated, Deferred Prosecution Program helps clients repair the harm done and move forward in the community. Deferred prosecution is probably the best kept or worst kept, depending on how you look at it, secret of the district attorney's office here in Dane County. One of my clients, who is now successfully completed, was referred for domestic violence with his now former girlfriend. He, while in our program, could not afford the certified abuser treatment that he needed to successfully complete our program. The Moses Fund allowed him, because they paid for it, they allowed him to learn consent, what a healthy relationship looks like, what respect, mutual respect within a relationship looks like. So now going forward, his relationships can be more positive. He also has been tapped by his facilitator, because he did so well in her program, to be a certified abuser treatment facilitator. So he can give back to the community and he can show other young Black men what consent, mutual respect, and positive relationships looks like. So now, I mean, he deserves all of the accolades. He worked very, very hard. And unfortunately, in the deferred prosecution program, the majority of our clients who cannot afford treatment or cannot afford the last bit of restitution to make that victim feel whole again are Black and brown people. So, now that I've given you one of my client stories, I would like to bring up a very dear friend of mine, Miss Pam.
Good morning again. My name is Pam Gates, and I'm a member of Prairie UU Society and of the FUS Criminal Justice Reform Team. Prairie is also a congregational member of Moses, and I am the representative from Prairie. My gratitude to the Deferred Prosecution Program is extremely deep. And I'll show you why by telling you a story from the viewpoint of a family member, excuse me, very dear to me. The I in this story is that family member, a young woman of 20 at the time. The title of the story is Father's Day 2008. One term I use in my story is my baby daddy, and that means the father of my child. My baby daddy wants our son to show him off on Father's Day. Sure, okay, let me get him ready. I'll give him a bath and dress him well. I have to get him dressed just right to go with Dad for Father's Day. My pride's at stake here. Listen to me. Come back for him in an hour or two. But my baby daddy will not wait. His car is idling. It's ready to roll. Don't rush me. Give me time. You could have called ahead, you know. Why won't he listen to me? My fury mounts, and it's not just this, but everything that's wrong between us. I grab a bat some kids left lying and slam it on his car. Again I slam it, and again, and then I stop. What have I done? And who's my baby daddy calling? The police. I've never been in trouble with the law before. I have no record. They offer me deferred prosecution. I must go to classes in anger management, pay for them, and pay for the damage I did. If I do all that, This will be gone like it never ever happened. I won't have a record that would follow me around, blocking me from so much of what I want to do with my life. I've dreamed of being a nurse since I was a kid, but with a record, I won't be able to follow that dream. With a record, so many things will be so hard, like even finding a place to live. But my life is already so hard. Taking the classes will mean even more time away from my son and money I don't have. My budget is stretched too tight already. Every dollar's accounted for. And I don't want to give my baby daddy any satisfaction. My family pushes me. They know I must do this. They'll care for my son. They'll help with the fees. They have enough money to do that. Not all families do. Not everyone even has family to help. But my family knows I must not pass up this chance. I must erase this record that will otherwise haunt me for the rest of my life. I do it. I finish the program. The thing I did in a furious rage is erased. And just to let you know, I went to school, became a nurse. And I support myself and my 2 kids. That baby in the story, he's 18, about to walk across the stage at his high school graduation. And I've not been in trouble with the law again. The deferred prosecution program changes lives. It changed mine. It helped me take charge of my life, take responsibility for what I did, and most of all, believe in myself again. It helped me see that just like everyone else in this room, I am much, much more than the worst thing I've ever done.
Thank you so much, Pam and Rebecca. I think the baskets may have already passed. Is that right? No? All right. No, it's happening now. I'm so excited it's happening now. Thank you to our dutiful ushers for waiting patiently for the change in the program. Baskets are now being passed here in the auditorium for cash or checks. You can also contribute towards the offering through our website, fusmadison.org, and find the text to give information there as well. Thank you for your generosity and your belief in this life we create together.
Each week we gather together carrying in our hearts the joys and the losses of our days. We bring them here and share them, knowing they are held gently in love and in support. We light a candle of memory and gratitude for the life of Stanley Inhorn, who passed away last week. Stanley was a physician with a deep devotion to public health. He was a violinist with a passion for music and its institutions, and he was a devoted husband to Shirley, who preceded him in death by only a matter of days. They were together long and loyal members of this congregation who strengthened us with their service and devotion to it. We send our love to their children and their grandchildren. A memorial service is planned for August 22nd in the Landmark Auditorium. And we light a candle of joy and celebration for the birthday of Hathaway Hassler, who turned 102 on February 26th. Happy birthday to Hathaway. And we light a candle in solidarity with the people of Ukraine in their suffering, in their struggle, their fierce bravery, and their persistence for their people and their land. Together we yearn for peace, for them and for all people, for an end to all wars of conquest anywhere and everywhere on earth. And we light a candle for all that lives in our hearts, the joys, the losses, the sorrows, the celebrations, and for the love that remains through it all, a love that heals, transforms, holds on, a love that lives always within, among, and beyond us. If you'll join us now in an attitude of meditation and prayer with these words from George Kim Beach. Giver of being and freedom, thou who touches our lives in unforeseen ways, who unsettles our ease and upsets our self-satisfactions, we wait in these moments of stillness to let the hidden processes of healing and growth do their silent work within us, and to let the quiet work of reconciliation be renewed among us. Because we know that the ultimate issues of life, healing and growth, reconciliation and renewal, cannot be forced, neither by excess of activity, nor by tumult of words. We seek out this stillness. We seek the quiet, the resting place of our restless hearts. Because we live with mystery, we trust that which is deeper than we know, which touches our hearts, which steadies us and rekindles our spirits, which finally in faith may be named the love that has laid hold upon us and will not let us go. Amen.
There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a I invite you to stand in body or in spirit as we sing our closing hymn together, number 101, Abide with Me. Abide with me,
When times are dark, the way becomes clear. Trust in your breath. Rest in your heart. Bow to the stranger. This is the gospel of astonishment. If we are completely lost, we come home to each other. Blessed be. Go in peace. Please be seated for the postlude.